What we're going to do first is start with this outer T-top. Then we're going to take our trim off, our sun visors off, our pillar posts off. And I always say when you're doing your interior, if you're taking everything out, start at the top and work your way down. So what you do, all your tools wise, you're just going to need a simple standard socket set and also a drill or a Phillips head screwdriver. And the T-top end caps on the front are held in by one Phillips head screw, which is located right here. We'll go ahead next and we're going to pull the sun visors. And they're held in by three Phillips head screws. And you have another one way over here. Once you have those three screws out, if you take the sun visor and wiggle it, it will wiggle and then drop down. Like so. The next thing, and we're going to work from one side to the other side here, so the next thing you're going to remove is going to be this Y trim, and that should be held in by one screw. When you're taking the Y trim out, what you're going to do is you're going to loosen up this screw and then this screw on the front headliner trim, and that'll make it drop down some. Once it drops down, you slip the Y trim up and off of the A pillar post, like so. Your pillar post is held in place by the Y trim, but also tucked up underneath the weather seal is going to be a small bolt, which you'll go ahead and remove. Once that bottom bolt is removed, the A pillar post will slide straight up and come off of the car like such. Now that we have that off on the driver's side, we're going to repeat the same process on the passenger side. Go through and remove the rest of the screws, and the front headliner trim is going to drop down and off. And then we have our A pillar post. Our next step is to remove the back banana trim, and this is the end cap trim on the rear side of the T-top opening. To do so, you have a screw here, but you also have a screw that is mounted up underneath the upper seatbelt cover. So go ahead and remove that, and how you do that is take the two screws out. And that'll drop down and out. Something kind of interesting to see here is if you look, this plastic clip here is used to hold the seatbelt cover closed so the seatbelt can't feed back out of that. You don't see that very often. Unclip it, and once you've unclipped it, you can slide the seatbelt through the upper seatbelt cover. Now that's going to expose this screw, which is the one we were looking for, and that is going to remove the banana trim, the rear end cap cover trim. Now that these are removed, we're able to take off the actual T-top trim use that run around the perimeter of the T-top opening. Once you have the upper seatbelt covers and the end cap trims off, you'll be able to remove this rear headliner trim, and that's going to make it so your next step would be to pull the sail panels out. Sail panels weren't ever put back in this car that we're working on, so we're not going to have to deal with that step. Once you've removed the screws going all the way across, the trim is going to drop down and off. Note that our T-top headliner is still supported by both the U's and by the dome light. The U-trims are secured in place just by tension in a series of retainer clips. And what you do is just start on one end, loosen it up, and then it'll pop up and out. Now, on each car there should be a total of 4 of these retainer clips as seen here. You're gonna have one here, 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 and here. Get those and don't lose those because they're not available reproduction. One thing to note, sometimes the clip will stay on the U-trim and not on the hull of the car, so check your U-trims also. To remove the deluxe dome light, all you do is push down with your thumb on the back side of the middle lens and drop the lens down. That's going to expose some bolts and studs that we'll be removing next. Remove the 2 bolts which take the outer case off, and be careful not to lose your lens or your lens retainer clip. Now that that's off, we'll be able to finish removing the dome light. We've taken the slip covers off, and there's 2 studs. If you look around from this side, you're going to be able to see them better. But what we're going to do now is lift the dome light up and through. If you'll come out and around, you see the 2 studs that retain the entire dome light assembly now. It just simply slips up onto that. We've got our headliner board dropping down, and now we're going to go ahead. And the best way to get the headliner out of the car is to try to corner it up and diagonally out, like so. Now our headliner is removed from the car.